I am president of ICOMOS Estonia, as well as from the end of last year, focal point of International Council of Monuments and Sites Climate Action Working Group. And International Council of Monuments and Sites consists of around 12,000 experts dealing specifically with cultural heritage and have been dealing with cultural heritage already 60 years. 20 of them with a focus on climate. And Climate Action Working Group is officially formed in 2016 and consists now from over 100 experts who are from all over the world who are dealing specifically with cultural heritage and climate issues. Among the works of Climate Action Working Group are the futures of our past, the document that is reflected in most of the recent research and development projects, including heritage homes and heritage green paper together with Europa Nostra and policy document for climate action for world heritage, as well as upcoming climate action toolkit for world heritage and several other documents that everybody dealing with cultural heritage and climate action is very familiar. Can I have my presentation now? Is it connected? 2 minutes more. ICOMOS is observer body in United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change, UNFCCC, and has been in all the COPs since 2015, which is actually making the Paris Agreement policies in the world. And this year COP has been in Brazil, in Belém, and this COP is marking very, very significant milestone, because in the framework of global goal for adaptation, that all the countries are bound and thinking of the solutions. Indicator on the target on cultural heritage was launched in COP28, but what the target about the protection of cultural heritage and cultural heritage value in climate adaptation really is. The indicators were on the table this year, and with a group of experts we're proposing 8 indicators concretely dealing with cultural heritage and climate action that are supposed to be binding for the state parties. That was the part of the discussion within COP30, and outcome was drastic. The discussions were drastic at the same time when I was supposed to have my like 8th or 10th presentation. Actually, the Belém pavilion house was burning, so it was postponed. But Brazil pressed to the moment that from 100 proposed indicators, 59 were adopted as voluntary for state parties, and next year to be decided concretely. But in these the indicators on cultural heritage were 5, and I show them now when I have the presentation on screen. So this is the data. You can take picture. We are part, besides of UNFCCC, of Climate Heritage Network, more than 400 architecture, cultural heritage, cultural actors, including Union of Architects and Association of American Architects and Architecture 2030. And Preserving Legacies Heritage Adapts initiative is founded by ICOMOS. And we are knowledge partner in the group of Friends of Culture-Based Climate Action, where at the moment signatures are 55 cultural ministries of the state, 55 states. So that is at the moment very, very strong state-level coalition on the level of ministries of culture, who in Barcelona in the end of September made Montjakult declaration on the importance of cultural heritage, as well as G20. And here is the map showing the span of ICOMOS national committees, which is remarkable. And ICOMOS has declared already in 2020 that climate change is the greatest threat facing humanity and its cultural heritage, and declared the climate and ecological emergency, and called upon other culture and heritage organizations to do the same. And now the scientific plan for last 2021 to 2024 was dedicated to climate action, and now it is about disaster and conflict resilient heritage, and exactly the disasters are connected with climate change in the massive scale all over the world. Sad news that it might be so that with no very concrete decisions made within this COP2 about fossil fuel reduction, this 1.55 degrees above pre-industrial levels last year might be not accidental, or only one, that we are heading over 1.5, but how much over? This is a thing, which means that already in IPCCR's International Panel of Climate Change Assessment Report 6, which is like the solid ground for all the activities on climate action, in 21 and 23 was said that when it goes over 1.5, we have to deal with completely different level of adaptation. And that is something that we must prepare together for, to be aware and to prepare. These are the documents that I slightly referred. You can take picture or look at later. And at this, in September, UNESCO thematic paper on culture and climate action from margins to mainstream was done, and together with ICOMOS, and I was both of the authors there. So, at the moment, we are working on climate action toolkit, and exactly on climate risk assessment, climate change adaptation, mitigation, and knowledge sharing and capacity building of world heritage, but not only, because that is a very good model for all heritage. And yesterday we had climate literacy trainings. We have four types of trainings. Heritage site managers can have the custodian training for 3 years, then heritage professional, heritage communities, and ICOMOS network. And just to refer to the fact that state parties of UNESCO World Heritage Convention have the obligation by 2030 to develop some activities for World Heritage climate action. And specifically targeted, connected with the local knowledge, different knowledge systems, local community-based, and so on. Here are some articles referring to the focus of World Heritage climate action as it respect to the local communities and traditional knowledge systems. One special training that I should highlight that is at the moment the call is out is the Preserving Legacies project, where ICOMOS is a founding partner, which calls and for sites, heritage sites, to take to take climate action in respect of cultural heritage, and site custodians can apply there. The deadline was 5th of January this year, and for example, there is not a single site from Baltics, so I really welcome, for example, Lahemaa to take that pledge, and that is supported by National Geographic and led by Preserving Legacies and ICOMOS and the Climate Heritage Network. And so far, we have several sites where this 3-year program is taking place. And now this is the news that I was talking about without presentation. That is COP30 and Global Goal on Adaptation Target 9G. The indicators for assessing progress under Target 9G, protecting cultural heritage from the impacts of climate-related risks by developing adaptive strategies for preserving cultural practices and heritage sites, and by designing climate-resilient infrastructure guided by traditional knowledge, indigenous peoples' knowledge, and local knowledge systems are as follows. And these 5 elements here are, when you look at them, pretty strong, showing that actually cultural heritage is, as it comes to the adaptation as well as mitigation, very, very strong tools. That first, that percentage or the number that is negotiable, but the percentage of at-risk cultural and natural heritage sites and elements with adaptation measures implemented to enhance resilience to climate-related hazards under different warming scenarios, as appropriate for regions and contexts, guided by traditional, local or indigenous peoples' knowledge and practices, disaggregated as appropriate by tangible and intangible cultural elements. Here we have it all. The holistic approach to heritage, not only culture, but tangible, intangible heritage aspects, as well as natural heritage aspects, this holistic reference to heritage. And secondly, proportion of cultural heritage protected from climate impacts through digitization measures for preservation and recovery, and by storing movable heritage in climate-resilient facilities, dealing with loss and damage as well, and keeping what is going to be lost on the small islands, on the coasts, and preparing for that. And then percentage of cultural heritage and sites with adaptation measures and emergency preparedness plans in place for climate change related hazards under different warming scenarios as appropriate for regions and contexts. Again, very strong message about, like, when you know that you have fire risk, you must be prepared for that. And there are actually joint actions that can be taken previously to prevent the loss of heritage. And then level of establishment of institutional engagement for the provision of regular training on climate change adaptation that incorporates guidance from traditional, local and indigenous peoples' knowledge where applicable. And percentage of climate adaptation measures focused on cultural heritage that maintain sustained engagement with indigenous peoples and local communities. And that is something that was put into the text this year at COP30. There was a paragraph that's why everybody agreed on that in the main text in paragraph there is that it is a voluntary at the moment. So it is not and how it will be implemented, it will be discussed in SP63 in Bonn, and next year in Turkey. COP31 will be held in Turkey, pre-COP is in Pacific Island, and then COP in Turkey, but that was the outcome of very, very strong negotiations. And the second thing that is good for heritage is that there was a specific target from talking to action, and plans to accelerate solutions were supported by presidencies and for upcoming presidencies until 2028. And ICOMOS is part of 3 campaigns there, which all are remarkable. Heritage Adapts campaign, Heritage Now campaign, and plan to accelerate cultural heritage consideration in national adaptation plans. And the first one is straight into policies. We have the obligation of the states to show nature-based solutions in their national adaptation plans, that actually culture-based solutions should be integrated there as well. And state parties are working on that. A group of Friends of Culture-Based Climate Action is now 55 states, including Latvia. Applause. And knowledge partners like UNESCO, like ICOMOS, like IUCN of that initiative. And second campaign is Heritage Adapts campaign, where organizations that will be launched in March next year, that focuses on the sites and heritage places, including museums, including libraries, to adapt, for heritage to adapt and have a plan for adaptation and have the solutions for adaptation by 2030. And that is on working both on the exactly heritage communities level, as well as museums level, as well as heritage sites level. And there will be like this access to all kind of resources to do that, but plus the network to help that. And with learning stages too. So I have some materials on that. I can give that further. And the third is that is straight into the theme of the current seminar, Decarbonizing the Built Environment Through Heritage. Campaign that is already launched this year together with Architecture 2030, Union of Architects, Climate Heritage Networks, World Monuments Fund, Built Buildings Lab, and Cornel Atkinson, and now several other partners. Luckily, Laurie Ferris, when she is in online, we'll talk about that in the afternoon more thoroughly. But again, you can join it. And the goals are very, very, very simple. That you should practice heritage-informed decarbonization. Traditional low-carbon repairable materials, building reuse, building use, passive design features, and so on, not only in the case of heritage buildings, but in the case of all architecture. And that is a very, 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 very cool initiative. All this information is available on the homepages, and although the general scenario for the future is that our world around us is changing and rapidly changing, wise people prepare for these kind of events. So, and that is a general message that cultural heritage should be very strong tool for preparations as well. So. Thank you.